11 days ago? All right, let's watch the other one. I'll do both. Let's do both.
It looks pretty straightforward. This is Super Smash Bros. Melee's
Don't forget the stuff in the notes.
contest. At first glance, it looks pretty straightforward. You've got a bat, you've got 10 seconds, you got to deal as much damage as possible to Sandbag.
Oh, let me show you guys something. This is the. All right, this is the. Well, okay. Watch this. I found this. I created this. All this stuff. That I tested every single percent from the middle of the bat, the tip of the bat, and the close range of the bat. This data 0 to 150 was made by me. And then this is made by someone else. I just added it. And I also tested every percent where like Flare Blade, Warlock Punch, and other moves would be stronger than the bat. Like Falcon Punch. Like I went over like everything. Look, we didn't even know how common a bomb was and everything. No ping hits and all that other stuff. Everything. Even the home run bat attack speed, although that doesn't matter for this mode. That doesn't matter at all. But yeah, I went in. Do you know how long it took to test like, oh, let me get to 139% and hit with the middle of the bat? Like stuff like that. That shit, that took so long to do all this stuff. I just wanted to show that real quick since that's related to this.
This is Super Smash Bros.
Yeah,
Melee's
it took at least 10
home run
minutes.
Contest. At first glance, it looks pretty straightforward. You've got a bat, you've got 10 seconds, you got to deal as much damage as possible to Sandbag, don't worry, he enjoys it, and swing for the fences to send him flying as far as possible. That's it, right?
He starts with a Phantom hit, by the way.
Wrong. Before you
by the way,
begin,
Samus has the fastest home run bat smash.
Do you want the
in a game
language to be in English or Japanese?
Doesn't matter though.
No, I'm serious. Changing the game language to Japanese changes the size of the home run contest platform and how far away Sandbag is when the run starts, which could change your entire strategy. But this is just
no C-stick.
The Iceberg.
Oh, F that.
I'll be going over everything. From the
I would never do that.
To forgotten info that used to be common knowledge, to secrets that were actually uncovered in the making of this video and have never been documented before. Let me tell you something. Melee's home run contest is seriously weird.
I've never done Kirby's Air Ride. I've only done Kirby's Air Ride a few times. Not even enough to know the game that well.
Might notice. Switching the language
but I'll play the new one.
The game from counting your distance in feet to counting in meters. This is only an aesthetic change since you can switch back and forth to see your score in either unit. But the two platforms also give you different scores in the first place. Why? On the one hand, the meters mode platform is larger, so Sandbag has to travel farther before you hit the 0 marker. But on the other hand, the higher platform means that Sandbag stays in the air for longer, lands later, and ultimately nets a higher score. Oh, and if you live in certain parts of the world, your copy of Melee can't do this. The PAL version of Melee, which was released in Europe and Australia, has 5 languages but only one platform, the larger one where distance is counted in meters. There's no way to access the smaller feet mode platform at all. While we're on the topic of your score, let's take a closer look at the score tracker.
I said I'm going to play it.
It's got 4 digits. You might be wondering what happens if you get to 10,000 feet and overflow the tracker. Well, we know the answer to this because 2 characters...
Dude, you want to know something crazy? On my version of Melee, which was the old version of the game when the game came out in America, it capped at 4556.6. If you go beyond that, if you go beyond 4556.6, which I did with my Ganon, if you go beyond that, then it goes infinitely. It's a glitch. And it just goes to 9999.9. It's a glitch with the old version. And then the new version just go to like 11,000 feet or something. So I was playing on the old one, and like this is like 2002, 2003. This is probably around 2002 when I did this, because it was the same time as Target Test when I did that. And I remember going beyond the limits of the home run. I thought that I went beyond the limits of the home run contest. So I came downstairs and I was like, Mom, Dad, I went beyond the limits of the home run contest, thinking that they were going to even understand what that means. Teenager years.
Ganondorf and Ice Climbers are strong enough to actually pass the 10k mark. Once you pass 10k, the score tracker stops updating, but your actual final score is stored properly on the character select screen. So if you get a new high score above 10,000 feet, you need to wait until the character select screen loads to know exactly where you ended up. Next, you might be wondering, what about passing 10,000 meters? Well, you don't have to worry about that because it's impossible. Not because nobody can hit the sandbag that far, but because the floor literally just ends. After the 11,300 foot marker, sandbag will slide until it appears to fall through the floor. And then it keeps falling seemingly forever because home run contest doesn't end until sandbag has come to a standstill, and sandbag will not come to a standstill as long as he's midair. So what ends up happening? It turns out that once sandbag is either 5,000 meters below the floor or 5,000 meters to the right of his starting position, a failsafe in Melee's code is triggered, which causes a game crash. And this doesn't actually count as sandbag stopping, so there's no possible way to save your score. The maximum valid score, the last value before sandbag falls off, is exactly 11,347.2 feet. But here's the catch. While you can't save your score, the game still tracks it. There are a few trophies in Melee that get rewarded once your home run contest total distance passes certain numbers. Sandbag for 300 meters, Paper Mario for 450 meters, and Unknown for 5,000 meters.
Oh!
But if you quit out before
I remember
the
doing
bag
this.
comes to a standstill, you get credit for the distance achieved so far. So you can pause at 500 meters and get Sandbag and Paper Mario faster than if you let Sandbag stop by itself. Unfortunately, you can't one-shot Unknown because the game will crash right before the 5,000 meter mark. But you could, in theory, swing the bat with, say, Mario for 100 meters, then complete the overlimit Ganondorf strat, watch Sandbag sail through the air until he goes off camera, pause and quit out after you've gotten to 40.
This is practical TAS.
But before the game freezes.
This is practical TAS. I just got done watching the old video like 10 minutes ago. You just missed it, essentially. Like, it was the past hour, except just now. I'm now watching the new practical TAS video. So in theory, this could be 2 different videos we upload.
At 5,000, and you could, in theory, swing the bat with, say, Mario for 100 meters, then complete the overlimit Ganondorf strat, watch Sandbag sail through the air until he goes off camera, pause and quit out after you've gotten to 4,900 meters, but before the game freezes at 5,000, and you will get credit for all of that distance and be rewarded the Unknown trophy. On a related note, a less well-known fact is that the Meters mode platform has a shorter maximum score. This is because the platform is larger, but the total stadium distance is the same length. So distance is counted starting later, and the end is therefore at a smaller number. Thus, it's actually impossible to tie the world record for Ganondorf or Ice Climbers in PAL, because Sandbag will fall off if you get less than 2 feet away from the record. Before we go any further, I need to explain the different versions of Melee. Japan and North America received the initial release, version 1.00, in November 2001, and then 2 updates, versions 101 and 102, later that same year. For home run contest purposes, 101 and 102 are identical. Keep in mind, Melee was not patchable. These updates came in the form of new discs, distinguishable by the version number printed on them. These versions are collectively known as NTSC because they were released in regions that used the NTSC video standard, the details of which we don't care about. PAL, which I've already mentioned, is likewise named because it was released in regions that used the PAL video standard. It came out in May 2002 and was the last patch Melee received. So, why does this all matter? As we've already discussed, there are 2 different home run contest platforms, the larger Meters mode platform and the smaller Feet mode platform that PAL doesn't have access to. Just like how there are multiple platforms, it turns out that there are actually multiple home run contest stadiums. In fact, the stadium in Melee version 1.00 is not only different from the stadium that's consistent across the other versions of Melee, but there are also 2 separate stadiums in 1.00, one for Meters mode and one for Feet mode.
Oh, they're both different.
Both of these stadiums are less than half the length of the stadium we all know and love. 1.00 Feet mode is relatively straightforward, but 20 plus years later, its 4,500 foot maximum distance has been surpassed by 16 of Melee's 25 characters.
This is what happened to me. This is what I was talking about earlier, where I just mentioned a 455 6.6, and I came downstairs and was like, Mom, Dad, I went beyond the limits of the home run contest. Excited teenage M2K.
Meters mode is a whole other story. The track itself is a little over 1,500 meters, or 4,900 feet long. However, there's a small problem. Starting close to 900 meters, or 3,000 feet, the game will actually give you a no distance message instead of recording your score. Unless, for whatever reason, the bag already touched the track before you launched it. So, for a brief period of time before version 1.01 was released in late 2001, the only way for an American player to set a home run contest world record was by changing the game language to Japanese, then finishing their strategy by letting Sandbag touch the track before launching it beyond the
That's
limit
funny.
of the stadium they had access to in English. Then,
I don't know
in
what that
PAL,
is,
these
Smokey.
convoluted finishers actually got patched out. In that version, if Sandbag touches the track for more than one frame, it becomes immune to any further attacks. So trying to replicate these strategies just results in the bat harmlessly passing through it. So letting Sandbag touch the track went from a necessity for optimal scores to an equal option to impossible across the various released versions of Melee. Sometime after Melee version 1.00 was finalized, the developers realized that the shorter limit was inadequate. They fixed the meters mode glitch and extended the track for version 1.01 and all subsequent versions. It's a good thing that they did because the first players to surpass the version 1.00 limit did so within months of the game coming out. In fact, the developers themselves produced a quote-unquote special movie disc.
I think this is the easy. If you're trying to get like the trophies, this is the easiest way to get the trophies.
Because the first
this is like the easiest, like no skill. Like if you have no skill, you just do Yoshi's Downer. If you're just trying to like unlock trophies and shit.
1.01 and all subsequent versions.
My 5-year-old self, dude, you want to talk about what I figured out when I was 5? Can I show you? Said no way your 5-year-old self would figure it out. Dude, I did this. Dude, can I show you something? I did this when I was 5. This, by the way, is frame perfect. This is what I'm showing you right now is frame perfect. 5-year-old Jason Zimmerman was in my room experimenting. I saw this might be possible. This also depends on the, what's it called? There's something like where it's less than a pixel. So it's frame perfect. Only Big Mario can do it. And it's sub-pixel. It's by sub-pixels. If you do all of that right, then you could do this. Watch. If you don't do all that right, by even one frame, you don't jump there. And if you mess up, you have to start over entirely. I had no idea if it was possible, so I just kept doing it over and over until I got it. And I was like, oh my god. That, yeah. And can I show you something else I was doing when I was younger? I'll show you what else I was doing when I was younger. Watch this. I also figured this out when I was 5. That, not this one. I think it's the next one. Right here. I did that. So when you're here, I found out that I could jump. I found out that I can jump up the vine. And I wasn't sure why I was getting it sometimes or not, but I realized that I could jump across the vine and run across the ceiling. 5-year-old Jason Zimmerman figured this out. And I used it to run across. You fight the little birdo thing who's carrying the key, and you do the level faster. Yeah, and then it's gonna be another vine. You come down and meet him from the right, I think. No, maybe it's a different. Oh yeah, yeah, this one. Yeah, 5-year-old Jason did this, dude. I swear to God, I'm not lying. And you know the Mario wart whistles? I'm sure you know what the wart whistles. I found most of them on my own, including the one where I have to duck for 5 seconds, just by experimenting. I saw it was the only white one. I'm like, this is suspicious. It's actually crazy to think that I did that in Mario 1, 2, and 3. I wish I was, dude, I wish I was recording my 5-year-old. I wish my parents were recording me at 5.
First to surpass the version 1.00 limit did so within months of the game coming out. In fact, the developers themselves produced a quote-unquote special movie disc, awarded to tournament winners at an event in Japan in early 2002, in which they got within 20 meters of the glitched meters mode limit with an incredibly simple strategy with Yoshi. So it was probably pretty clear that players would find ways to surpass it. Yet, despite the changes the developers made, There's one last weird thing that all three stadiums have in common. The stadium
Waveland.
floor is not completely flat. Let me say that again if you didn't catch that. The stadium floor is not completely flat.
I mean, the
It
edges?
is hard to overstate just how weird this is. All they had to do was make sure that the left side and the right side of a single line shared the same height. Not only that, but the three stadiums each have slightly different heights and slopes, and the height difference is minuscule. The right end of each floor is only 3 to 4 centimeters, or 1/10.
Wait, did you know that the Dreamland platform on the left and the Dream, you started an esports franchise? You can DM me, email me, Mew2King, yeah, or Twitter DM me, or email me here if you're interested. Did you know that the right and left Dreamland platform on Dreamland 64 and Smash 64 and Melee, at least in Melee, but I'm pretty sure in both, are different heights? If Marth up throw up tilts Fox at 0% and Fox techs in place, and Marth up tilts at a certain time, it will Phantom hit Fox on the right platform, but not Phantom hit on the left platform.
1/10 of a foot higher
From
than the left.
0% with no DI.
I need to put this into perspective. The longest home run contest stadium is 11,347.2 feet. That is nearly the length of Central Park in New York City. What the Melee developers did is the equivalent of Central Park's planners saying, by the way, it is actually extremely important that the north end of Central Park is 1.5 inches higher than the south end. It honestly blows my mind that this survived all of Melee's patches. But I learned about it, so now I'm burdening you with this knowledge too. Anyway, there's other ground to cover, so let's move on to the characters. Critical to the distance each character can achieve in home run contest is their bat swing. Most characters have the exact same properties on their swing, which makes it a universal tool.
I'm wondering if they're going to say the close range hit, there's a no ping hit, which used to be good early day, but is pretty much obsolete now. Because if you're above like 120 damage, it's worse. There's the close range, which is the weakest. The center, which is the middle in power, but you need the tipper to be competitive. To be truly competitive, you get the tip.
Unless you have something stronger than it, such as Bowser's fully charged forward smash or Jigglypuff's rest. But a few characters actually...
And I made this list a long time ago. I'm going to show this again. Not only did I find the distance it goes from the bat at every single point from the center of the platform, I also found out the exact percents, because this was useful back in the day, where moves make it stronger. So if Puffs rest at 69% or more, it becomes better than the bat. And, you know, this, like, Warwick Punch is at 156 plus. Falcon's Punch, so on and so forth. With Falcon, you have to use Falcon Punch because Falcon's bat's the only one that he swings it upwards. So it doesn't even matter. But yeah, I made a list there. Yeah, Sheik too. With Sheik though, you just go Zelda, I think.
Actually have really weird, useless swings. Sheik has a double swing which deals 22%
Yeah, I obviously know that.
Practically straight up. Captain Falcon is the only character with 2 different swings, but both are useless. You can either deal 30% and send Sandbag almost nowhere, or do the same 22% as Sheik with a near vertical but slightly backwards trajectory. Luckily, both of these characters have alternative options for a strong final hit. Falcon can simply use Falcon Punch, which is stronger than the bat anyway, while Sheik has to transform into Zelda to utilize her normal swing.
Oh, yeah.
Notably,
Zelda
Ganondorf's swing uses the same animation as the first half of Captain Falcon's, but has entirely normal properties. It's also never seen since Warlock Punch is superior to the bat in pretty much every circumstance. And finally, there's a universal option that's stronger than a swing, throwing the bat straight down while right beside the sandbag. But there's a catch. This is weaker at lower percents, with ever so slightly higher knockback growth. This means that bat throw down only becomes stronger than a tipper at high percents, specifically when sandbag is at 351% or higher.
351. See, obviously, I think only Ice Climbers can do that. I think only Ices can do that. Maybe one other character, but probably just Ices.
Where they both send it over 8,000 feet. As of right now, there's only one character that can get sandbag to that high of a percent before launching it. The Ice Climbers. In order to do this, they activate a glitch called the freeze glitch, which traps Sandbag in place so they can deal massive damage to it. In fact, they deal so much damage to Sandbag that they don't even need to use the strongest option available to them. At 423%, a swing or a bat throw down would overshoot the track and crash the game, so instead they throw the bat up, which is slightly weaker but makes it easier for them to target the exact end of the track. The next entry on this list is something that a lot of people are aware of but nobody really ever thinks about. See, when you start most games in Melee, the announcer kicks things off by yelling his iconic, "Ready, go!" There are a few exceptions where this is skipped, like Master Hand Fights or entering the All-Star Rest area, but Home Run Contest is an exception to the exception. It's the only place in the game where the announcer yells ready, but go doesn't follow. And this actually has a gameplay implication. In modes where go is on the screen, the timer doesn't start until go disappears. This grants you an extra 40 frames or 2/3 of a second in versus mode, and decreases your final time and break the targets by the same amount. But only in Home Run Contest did the developers decide that you don't get those extra 40 frames. You get 10 seconds and 1 frame exactly. Oh yeah, if the dev's goal was to limit you to exactly 10 seconds, they screwed up because 1. The timer doesn't start counting down from 10.00 until the frame after ready disappears, and you can move on that frame. And 2, if you input an action with 0.01 seconds left, it will get processed and your character will start that action with no time on the clock. At least this error ends up benefiting the players. But practically nothing else about Home Run Contest does. If you've ever tried to play it, you know that it's actually remarkably hard just to get started. A significant part of most characters' arsenals is pretty much impossible to use and instead will just knock Sandbag off the platform and end the run. This was fixed in Brawl with the addition of platform shields, invisible walls on either side of the platform that Sandbag will bounce off, unlocking every character's full moveset and making it far more likely.
Dude, I actually never see people talk about, the home run contest in other games, or target tests in other games. They just talk about melees. I actually have no idea. I forgot, dude. I forgot target test. I don't even think I've seen home run contest in Brawl ever. I think I might have seen it one time ever, and if I didn't see it in this video, I would have forgot it existed. Because everything I did in Brawl was based on tournament purposes, like practicing Midnight against Computer, Snake, and going to Smash Fest and tournaments, and just constantly training for tournament. Like, all of the casual modes, outside of doing it once each, I forgot this was even in the game. I don't even think I've did this outside of, like...
that you'll be able
I don't even know if I did this once with every character. I probably didn't.
to finish a run successfully with a bat swing. Another change in Brawl Onward is that if you send the Sandbag to the left, your run instantly ends. This isn't the case in Melee, and remarkably there's actually something there. The back wall. The back wall is an invisible wall to the left of the platform that's become integral to many world
it's
record strategies
super
over the
far.
years. But what you might not know is that the developers even used the back wall themselves. The special movie disc contains several pre-release videos of players using the back wall in home run contest strategies. Speaking of which, this is a good time to mention that the back wall actually scales alongside the platform size, and so it's farther away in meters mode than it is in feet mode. And while it would make at least a little sense that the platform and back wall in one of feet or meters mode would match the actual size of the model stored on Melee's disc, and the other would be scaled as needed, that would be far too simple. The truth is that neither model is the actual size. The meters mode platform is scaled up, and the feet mode platform is scaled down. Now onto the Sandbag itself. To allow the game to keep track of Sandbag's percent, the developers actually coded it as a character, not an item. This means that it can be grabbed just like other characters, rather than picked up like the bat and other items. This allows us to take advantage of an error in home run contest coding to perform some unintended actions. See, normally, when Sandbag lands on the track, the game instantly ends. However, only a specific set of landing animations trigger this game end, and Sandbag's getting grabbed animation is not one of them. So you can knock Sandbag off the platform, grab it before it touches the ground, and let it go, and the timer will not stop. You can even keep hitting it as long
I don't think this is used in any world records. Probably just like, there was a mode I used to play where you would use like Cat and Falcon and use like his neutral air to try to see how far you could bring it with like neutral airs and stuff before hitting it with Falcon Punch or whatever. But I'm pretty sure this is not going to be used in any actual world records from the normal WRs.
as it doesn't leave the ground. So for instance, Fox can hit it with Shine over and over. Another less fun part of Sandbag is that it's affected by randomness, or RNG. Once characters are past 100% damage, most strong attacks have a random chance of putting them into what's called spiral knockback, where the character twirls in a spiral animation after they get hit. Sandbag, since it's
I lost a set. I got 33rd at Genesis because of this glitch.
coldness, or RNG.
Did you know that I got 33rd at Genesis because of RNG? Watch this.
Once characters are past 100% damage, most strong attacks have a random chance of putting them into what's called spiral knockback, where the character twirls in a spiral animation after they get hit.
Watch this. I don't know what the exact odds are. It's always been weird and finicky, but it actually affects Marth a lot. Yeah. So it was the very last outcome. Right here. I think. Oh, never mind. No, this wasn't the same. I think I don't know. I think depending on the animation, I hit this and they die. Somehow this missed. I got 33rd at Genesis because of this. Because somehow this sword missed. I can't believe this missed. I've done this so many times in my life. I don't know if it's because of the spire or whatever. Or whatever. Because there's different ways of being in the air. I could just be wrong. Maybe it was something else. So maybe it's not the same thing. I just know I've done this a billion times on that DI and it always hits. Crazy it didn't. And there's been other situations, I think against like PPMD, where I think I had to... Is that Big House? I remember I had to consider... Yeah, I know, it's just... You see how deep I was? I mean, obviously it missed. You could just tell from the video, so I mean, but... I think the one of our Marth Dittos ended super close from that. Oh, it was on FD? I went... It was risky.
All right, Yoshi story. Here we
go.
I
went for it.
So funny. Oh my god, did he really just jump out and get hit with...
Oh, wow, Mew2King. Okay.
Mew2King
Yeah, I knew he could block, but I went for error anyway.
heartbreak incoming.
Uh-oh.
This was risky. Look right here. I knew this was possible. I am so nerdy that I knew this was possible. But it's so finicky that there's a high chance this misses based on when I press downer. Like if I pressed downer earlier, then this would have missed. Because look how high he is. And look. Now this video sucks because this video goes from 0.6 to 0.2 in 1 frame, which is some garbage. That's really garbage that I can't actually show it frame by frame. that the video skips. Okay, so that it's actually going from 0.6 to 0.2, which is it's skipping 0.5 and 0.3. But you can see, even if you imagine the 2 frame difference, you could see like how little you could see the big jump even despite that. Not the best example, but that's all I got. Why was I Black Marth? Because I was playing with his character's green. I played, if you want to watch a great match,
You might like this to me.
I played so good this last match.
Can you actually not commentate near me? Because you're...
This is like, I think this is one of my best matches against PP.
Slick sounds like so...
It was
sad.
2-2.
He's like, oh, I upset Dark Ray.
I've heard that, yeah.
Marth is back!
Marth is back, wow!
I spot the, okay, so what did you hear?
So sad. He's like, oh, I upset Dark Ray.
I dash back to avoid get up attack, which will also punish roll. If he does roll in, he gets dash stance grabbed. If he does get up attack, I dash stance around it. And if he spot dodges, I wait for it.
Marth is back!
I walk forward tipper. Wow. That tippers every single option. I'm pretty sure I'm trying to tipper every single option because I'm smart.
Oh,
and now I wait here. And now I think that I know that he's smart enough to not side B, because if I just jab or short hop fair, and he does anything that isn't the lowest possible side B, or if he jumps early, then I know I can punish with jab or fair. So I know that he's smart enough to know that he shouldn't side B. So because I know that he knows, I know he'll do that. If I thought he was a random Falco, I would have just jumped in place. But I gave him credit for being smart, so I punished the smart player option.
Marth is back. Wow. Green Marth.
And I waited that exact period of time so that it had to be unreactable within about 0.2 seconds, so that he couldn't change his mind. So I do my jump around the same time as he has to make his decision.
Mew2King
And then we could just skip. I 3-stock him low damage.
on his throne. And
Poke.
Oh, that's it.
And then the best handshake ever. I could go over. Actually, we could go over that whole match. Let's do a quick intermission.
Gimmer just hating me and Scar, having a terrible day.
But PP coming right back. Explosive
In
stuff.
this case, there's anything else I want to show.
Fantastic combo. But
Fair
this
grab.
And it's a down throw. And the jab.
Jab.
That's so much easier to hit. That reaction is so much easier offline.
Dead. Death.
I've never missed that. I cannot believe I missed that.
Jab. Dead. Death.
I choked. I could literally have just upbeat him to the right or ledge drop double jump fair rising. This is me choking. This is literally me being nervous.
Down throw. And the jab.
If this is a friendly, he dies 100 out of 100 times.
Jab. Dead.
I just go low, upbeat to the side, that would have hit him, and even if I miss, I either drop fair or drop double jump rising center hit fair, and it's weak enough to not save spike. Or I just drop and side B, do like drop left and side B. There's like a billion things I could do that guarantees his death, but because it was tournament and I was nervous, I didn't play good. On that moment, yeah, but you don't understand tournament nerves until you're in a high pressure situation.
No death. No death. Video bootcamp is back.
Have nothing to say about that. Mew2King has practiced that in his room 7,000 times.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my goodness.
Marth with his wonderful up B, right? Like that thing just kind of like the sword hits you. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Sword hit you through the stage.
Yep.
Not made of solid stuff.
The stage.
The stage.
The sword certainly is.
Marth's
Right.
recovery certainly is solid stuff.
Yeah.
I think I play like a god after this
No
moment.
jump. If it was Kevin Toy, he would have had a jump.
Right.
Shouts, Kevin.
Yep.
Toy.
Yeah, went toy. Not Nanny. Well, I mean Nanny too.
Shout
But,
out to him. That dude.
yeah.
Oh! The
Okay.
lasers were greedy.
Oh.
That forward-
And there's something else you can do,
That dude.
Yeah.
Oh!
where if I down tilt the second place mistech, it's a nice solid hit for like 10 damage, 13 damage, 10 damage, or whatever it does. If he tech rolls in, I can turn on and grab, and if he techs away, I still have the advantage.
Lasers were greedy.
He could instant side me there,
Oh.
and then I could also just F tilt to kill him if he comes in early. Who's my favorite Marth to watch? Me.
Full forward
That
tilt.
forward tilt!
Swatting him away, saying no. No, I will edge guard you.
Power shield.
Nice back here.
Yeah. Mew2King just in his face.
Oh,
Really.
what a nair! The forward smash trades with forward tilt.
This match is so intense. These guys are just in each other's
Block
faces.
the up tilt.
After this, I look for any change in movement to do up air.
This match is so intense. These guys.
Any change in movement equals up air whole platform. So I just look for a change in movement equals jump up air. I should be able to react if it's neutral get up or roll right. I should at least cover 3 to 4. If I'm playing good, it's 4 to 4. If I'm playing bad, 3 to 4.
In each other's
Block
faces.
the up tilt, and now Mew2King on an offensive.
Great.
It's the change in movement mentality. Change in movement equals press buttons.
Wow, he
or-
picked the one option to let him get out of that up air.
And then I'm zoning. I used to call it a super zoning.
Great situation.
Well, I just dash dance and then double jump in place. It's kind of like a shield stop.
He picked the one in each other's
Block
Like
faces.
this?
the up tilt, and now Mew2King on an offensive.
Great.
Newer AIDS
Great
players
to
would do
wow.
dash dance, shield stop, but my habit was to dash dance, double jump, because double jump makes it so I don't have any momentum. It basically serves as like a shield stop of sorts
One option to
for
let him
spacing.
get out of that up air and
I knew, see back through, I knew I'd put him on the platform, up tilt the entire platform for a guaranteed hit,
Did you see that nair?
and then I realized, okay, no DI,
Did you see
upper
that
F
down air from
smash.
PP?
and the tipper.
That was a.
One option to let him get out of that up air
Did
and
you see
Oop.
that nair? Did you see
Oop.
that down air from PP?
and the tipper.
That was a lost my composure down air from PP.
It
for
absolutely
sure.
was. And PB needs to dig real deep right now
Needs to
because
dig deep. You're against the
Mew2King.
king, and the king is comfortable.
Wave shine backwards, just in case you don't aerial. We're Scorpion. Get over here.
On his throne.
Jump early. He's trying to down me. Just in case you jump early. Down tilt is active frame 7, 8, and 9. So I have a 3-frame window. That this timing will cover in case he jumps early. So see, this is the it's already out and it hits him anyway. It's active for 3 frames.
And
that's it.
the ledge,
That's it.
and it's over.
And the best handshake ever. Frame by frame. Ooh.
Free stock.
That's the
Sounds dreams.
And
that
Carol
analysis of that.
taking all the credit.
Carol,
Played for spring
good shit,
decision.
Carol.
Good work, Carol. You did
Mango
everything.
one. Yep.
All
Just
you.
went straight up.
What's
It's
Mew2King?
over.
And then hit
I beat I beat Mango so many
Actually,
times
nothing.
actually in this
The
year.
crowd-
Anyway, we're going back to the TAS video. Now I know.
Sandbag, since it's coded as a character, is
Back to practical TAS video.
no exception. Home run contest players often find themselves hitting Sandbag straight into the ground to keep it in place. But if you get
My OCD is making me wonder what you're talking about, so I'm just gonna do this because OCD, and then go back.
Mango one. Falco shield. Just because it's hard. Opportunity. No, not yet. That time he was looking for that
I don't know why. There was zero reason for me to run away back to center. That was fucking stupid.
instant illusion that Mango's been opting for in this situation a lot.
Oh yeah, I also know I can grab out the beginning of Shine.
Just out of range of that shine, and Mango mashing out a down tilt to avoid the tech chases and the
I just did up air. I just thought it worked.
jab pressure, and that's it. Nope. Now it is. And that's it. The that shine.
Okay, the truth is it's better to ledge dash, but controllers back then were so fucking bad, and they change all the time, that like I didn't want, and there was like polling differences where even if you do the right input, the polling would be bad, and controllers change, so even if the controller would have did it last week, it won't do it this week, so both all these small little things make ledge dash less consistent. So I didn't go for it as much only because of those reasons.
And Mango
So I was gonna do ledge hop delayed up air or ledge hop delayed fair, and I wasn't sure what to do, and I chose up air.
mashing out a down tilt to avoid.
But if I'm playing good, I'm just gonna ledge dash F tilt or ledge dash to something when I'm playing good.
tech chases,
I knew he'd roll
and
away.
the,
I knew I can't combo him, so I'll have to follow with needle to cover options.
jab pressure.
All I had to do here is short hop needle. But I did this for a trade, and what I should have did is DI right and tech. Or I could have just did another needle run off fair.
Nope.
And here, I think I just wasn't sure if I'd land it. I knew this would be enough to kill though. He could side me, but I'll up B over it. There's a bunch of ways you can kill him. I knew this would kill him. I knew he wouldn't reach. Or that I would grab it before him. Also, if we grab the ledge at the same time, I'm player 1. If we grab ledge at the same time, I'm player 1, so I win. And I was always player 1, so I was used to the timings. So yeah, there's a few things going on there. But yeah, there was a... Once Falco's there, it's kind of like... It's like a choose your own adventure, and there's like 3 guaranteed kills. There's like probably like 3 or 4 guaranteed ways to kill him, and it's kind of like pick which way you want to kill him.
At the 30% chance of spiral knockback on the downward hit, Sandbag will actually
There's nothing you
land
can do.
upside down.
If I...
Upside down Sandbag has
suck.
a different hurt box placement, which can ruin your positioning for future attacks. At this point, there are home run contest records which depend on getting as few upside down
I don't think that's essentially. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure on vanilla melee you cannot use the C stick for anything. If you're playing on Slippy or something, you're going to be able to use the C stick. I don't think you could use the C stick. Any one player? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's any one player mode. If it's any one player mode and isn't versus mode, any one player mode, you cannot use the C stick. You can nowadays because everybody has Slippy and modified version of Melee. But if you were to take like a disc from Melee from 2002 and try to do it, yeah, versus you can. If you were to take a 2002 Melee disc, you cannot use the C stick in one player modes, any of them. But you can in versus mode. And versus mode is the only thing people care about. So of course I suck without the C stick.
sandbags as possible,
No, versus mode is the only mode you can use C stick, which is what people do 99% of the time.
with even 2 meaning you can't achieve the world
No, I haven't tried that, gang.
record score. Oh, and by the way,
How good was
something that I wasn't-
PPMD? Okay, so PPMD and me, I'd say we were about equal. But in a head-to-head, if you were to take me and PPMD against the field, I think against the field we were equal. We were like completely equal as a player. But in a head-to-head, which is different than against the field, he had my number in a head-to-head. So against the field, I'd say we were equal as a player. In the head-to-head, he had my number.
even aware of until very recently, but Sandbag actually has.
And the main reason he had my number, and I had this confirmation from my friend Umbreon Mao and the Cactor, who both confirmed this to me, is that he would study me all the time. So he put so much time into studying me specifically that he was extra good in the head-to-head battle against me. Because he would be so focused on me and my habits and how to beat my habits and abuse my habits. Which I don't blame him for doing, but that's the reason his head-to-head against me was so strong, despite us being just as good, possibly better, but at least just as good against other opponents if it wasn't a head-to-head.
A cute little idle animation. You have to look very, very closely.
That's a thing in Melee, though. That's what you do.
Despite the millions of people who've played this game, there is not a single reference to this anywhere online.
Wait, what?
Outside of the message played this game, there is not a single
I didn't know he moves.
Anywhere online. Outside of the message reigning world record holder HRC Typo sent me informing me of this fact.
I didn't know this. I never knew about this. The Shandike shaking.
Shoutouts to Typo, by the way. He was instrumental in fact-checking this video. You might be thinking I might be running out of topics by now, but we haven't even gotten to the biggest one yet. The home run contest bat.
You want to see my Mewtwo real quick? Alright. Let me show you my Mewtwo real quic. I'll show you Project M and then Melee.
Pretty sure, Gucci, I'm pretty sure that he's going to get 11 subscribers, so...
Random Mewtwo match.
Donate, you don't want to sub for some reason.
This is right when he came out.
Question, yeah. You can do that. But we really want subs, but you can do both. Sub and dub tub is the best.
2013 video. I do a different combo every stock. A different variation every stock. PM peaked here. PM peaked here. It was so fun.
How he feels
Up stress out of shield. On the cross up. Spacing.
You guys keep reading this weird source. All right, there's a magazine that came and some guy who said he played the game said that he couldn't.
This was the peak by far.
And I can't expect for that Jimmy Joe, because I don't know who he is, to really. You never know, dude. I can't rely on that source.
Boop. You want to see it, everyone? This one's from actual Melee. Alright, watch this.
He got up for that one.
Okay.
God, he got up. Holy shit.
You're such a bastard.
That was. Oh. You saw him start grinning. I'm like, what are you grinning about?
He was watching me grin because he knew what I was about to do. Let's watch that one more time.
He got up for that one.
Okay.
God, he got up. Holy.
I don't know what the Mewtwo tier list is, but I think that was the coolest Mewtwo combo ever done. Look at the way I finished this. Look at what I did.
He got up for that one.
I don't know who's better, but I'm the coolest. Up tilt. Straw hop, reverse up air. No UDI in to get a back air. No UDI in to get a down air. No, you're going to beat or cancel. Down air to not trade.
He got up for that one.
Okay.
God.
That is at least 10 out of 10.
To start, I need to explain hitboxes, which are the sphere or capsule-shaped parts of attacks that deal damage to your opponent. In Melee's debug mode, they're displayed in red. It's commonly known that the bat has 3 separate hitboxes, with its strongest being at the tip.
I already went over this. I already went over this earlier, but just in case, I'm gonna go over it again. I went over this. I found this out long ago. The bat. I made the whole list of center hit, close hit, center hit, and tipper. As you can see, it's the difference between 404 feet and 368 feet. Or let's go to like 150 damage to see. 2064 to 1958. That's already like 100. Once you get to these numbers, it's like 100 damage. That's like a 100 feet difference. It's like 100 feet difference. I mean, if we're gonna go by damage, look at that. That's like a That's like 6 damage there in the high night. Once you get around 150, that's like a 6 damage difference, basically. Pretty important. I mean, I'm pretty sure I have it sauce in the bag, I guess.
The tipper has the lowest priority of the 3 main hitboxes, which means that it will be ignored if one of the other 2 connects at the same time as it. So, in order to maximize distance, you need to space your swing so that tipper touches the sandbag, but the other 2 hitboxes don't. Lesser known is the bat's 4th and lowest priority hitbox. Unlike the other 3,
no ping hit. These were called no ping hits.
And lacks the distinctive ping sound effect, which is where it gets its unofficial name.
No ping hit.
No ping hit.
Yep, the no ping hit.
The no ping hit connects to their shoulders.
I'm too nerdy.
So hitting one usually requires hitting sandbag out of midair. Pikachu and Pichu are notable for their shared swing animation, which has their no ping hitbox extend behind them. This means that if they get close enough, they can hit sandbag with the no ping hit simply by swinging backwards. No ping hits are notable because they're far superior to tippers at low percent, but with much lower knockback growth. The inflection point where a tipper starts to become superior is 116% prior to the hit. Players on the special movie disc often didn't rack up that much damage on sandbag, opting instead to optimize their routes to lead into no ping swings. This usually came in the form of a hit off the back wall.
Yep, everything makes sense.
One of the most annoying parts of the bat is that some of its behavior is also governed by RNG. All but one home run contest world record utilizes bat drops, where the player lets go of the bat, lets it hit sandbag, and then hits sandbag with an attack before it can fly too far. Unfortunately, if during this process you let the bat hit the ground, there's a random chance that it will disappear, usually ending your run. There are actually 2 separate processes at work here, so this might get a little bit confusing. First is that the game tracks the number of times the bat touches the ground after being released. On each of the first 3 bounces, there's a 25% chance that the bat will simply disappear. In other words,
oh, I didn't know that. 25, 25, 25, then 75?
58% chance that the bat will be gone if your strategy requires 3 ground touches. To make matters worse, the 4th ground touch is 100% guaranteed to result in a disappearing bat. The second type of bat RNG is similar but distinct. The game also tracks the number of times that you release or throw the bat, and if that number is exactly 4, and only exactly 4, not 3, not 5, and you allow the bat to touch the ground, it will always disappear, even if this is its first ground touch. Personally, I kinda see the logic here, even though it doesn't seem to work out as the developers intended. It's like this is a failsafe for the prior RNG. Assuming that the bat touches the ground every time you release it, by the 4th release, you will trigger both of the bat disappearance guarantees at the same time. Of course, it doesn't always work out this way, with players routinely throwing or dropping the bat without letting it touch the ground. Also, it definitely doesn't make any sense to me that this one applies to the 4th release and only the 4th release. But if you add this to all of the other home run contests and
look at what they did. Look at how they did. Dude, having the end on Phantom Hit is so fucking annoying. I can't imagine doing this over and over and be like, oh, I have to end on a Phantom Hit in this weird ass setup.
But if you add this to all of the other home run contest weirdness, a pattern starts to emerge. That of a rushed game mode with a ton of interesting ideas that probably needed just a little more time to polish up. I wouldn't be surprised if this mode is practically a beta, rushed for Melee's release before the formula could be iterated for Brawl and beyond. And the changes in later games do correct several of these issues. Brawl fixed the unnecessary difficulty with the addition of platform shields, as well as removing the back wall and track shenanigans. Smash 4 removed major character-based sources of RNG, including preventing Luigi from being able to misfire his side B. And finally, in Ultimate, Sandbag has infinite knockback resistance when it's first hit, meaning any single hit move can be used to start a run because it won't send Sandbag anywhere, so every character can use any part of their arsenal at least once. But at the same time, it feels like some elements of Home Run Contest got lost over the series. One critical aspect of items in Melee is that if you press the A button or Z button, you can't grab them out of midair for the next 40 frames. And since you can't use the C-stick in all of Melee's single-player modes, you have to press A.
Oh, wait. Pay attention here.
Frames. And since you can't use the C-stick in all of Melee's single-player modes,
exactly what I was saying,
you have to press A or Z for every non-special attack and bat drop. So, in Home Run Contest in Melee, you can't attack and then immediately catch the bat in midair, nor can you drop the bat in midair and immediately re-catch it. This 40-frame window is a significant strategy restriction, and that's obvious if you look at Home Run Contest world records in later Smash games. This is because from Brawl onward, the 40-frame limit was removed, and as a result, most characters' world record strategies ended up becoming rapid repetition of grabbing and throwing the bat. In Melee, this is impossible, so a wider variety of strategies is seen. Ultimate tried and failed to fix this by having the bat spawn in halfway through the run, but the devs could have instead re-added a solution that was already used in Melee. Similarly, there's also a 10-frame lockout for pausing in Melee, which means that you can't rapidly pause
What
and
the
unpause run strategies of grabbing and
That was
throwing the bat.
insane. 800 damage and flow cancel nairs?
In Melee, this is impossible, so a wider variety of strategies is seen. Ultimate tried and failed to fix this by having the bat spawn in halfway through the run, but the devs could have instead re-added a solution that was already used in Melee. Similarly, there's also a 10-frame lockout for pausing in Melee, which means that you can't rapidly pause and unpause to
It was 10-frame lockout? Oh no, my stat site might be wrong. Wait, it's actually 10? Oh wait, I think I just described it. I think I talk about it being 11. See, right here I mentioned how there's an 11 frame lag. So it was actually 10 after all. Or maybe for me I'm counting it as, maybe I'm thinking of it as a different starting or ending point. Darn.
execute complex strategies frame perfectly. This being removed in later Smash games means that otherwise impossibly precise strategies are available to everyone, as long as you're willing to mash pause over and over while playing. It also means that world record strategies are completely incomprehensible to the average player and viewer, as pauses are hidden by the replay feature in Brawl and later games. So you'll never see the original execution unless the player specifically recorded it. Pause buffering is still used in Melee for precise inputs, but only sparsely. The largest number of pause buffers in a current world record video is 8, as opposed to dozens for each of Melee's sequels. And all 8 are part of the video, as Melee doesn't have a replay system to remove them. Now, of course, there's nothing wrong with pause buffering, but personally I think Melee's restriction on them makes for more approachable records. Speaking of pausing, there's also a glitch that only shows up when you pause. Players notice that if you hit pause at a certain time during the countdown, all 5 big numbers would show up on screen at the same time. This actually happened for the current world record for Mr. Game & Watch. For this video, I actually investigated what specifically causes the glitch, and it turns out that it's really simple. If you pause on the second last frame that the 4, 3, 2, or 1 are visible, when you unpause, you'll see all the numbers overlaid for the next frame, the final one where the original number is expected to be visible. Notably, this doesn't occur in other countdowns, such as in multiplayer mode. Here's a similar visual glitch, but I have no idea how to reproduce this one. It seems that in certain very rare circumstances, your in-game tag will float somewhere in the stadium. If Sandbag flies past it, it could be visible for only 1 frame, but if Sandbag stops moving near it, it sticks around. These are the only 2 video examples of the glitch happening, which makes it one of Melee's most obscure unsolved mysteries. The final entry on the penultimate layer of our iceberg is equally obscure. In other Melee single-player modes, players have learned how to harness RNG and manipulate it to achieve favorable outcomes. However, Home Run Contest has thrown them a curveball. The best use for RNG manipulation in Home Run Contest is with Peach, to pull her rare and uber-powerful Stitch Face turnip, which drastically increases her damage output. There are even setups that can let you pull a Stitch Face on 2 consecutive frames, allowing for more leniency than normal. The problem with this is that the setups to do so are still slightly random, even after RNG manipulation. When you get to what should be the correct seed and start a run, the seed iterates an unpredictable number of times, and we don't currently know why. We just know that you can bend this game mode to your will, and it might still fight back. We are almost at the end. The iceberg is almost filled up, but we haven't gotten to the deepest, darkest part yet, and that is for a very simple reason. It contains nothing but math. First, in the real world, 1 foot is equivalent to 0.3048 meters. Melee's developers did not care about trivial facts such as this real-world conversion rate, and instead created their own. In Melee, 1 foot is slightly smaller than a real-world foot. This might not seem that large, but on a scale of
I remember this being a thing. I remember that.
thousands of feet, this means that you can't just plug in how many meters is 11,347.2 feet and expect to get back the correct answer. You can't just plug in the correct conversion rate either. If you want to replicate the score function in Google Drive, for instance, your formula will have to look like this. You have to replicate the layers of division and rounding that Melee uses, otherwise you're going to find examples where your calculations are off. You see, every increment of 1/10 of a meter is a possible score, but not every 1/10 of a foot is. That's because even in feet mode, the score is calculated in meters first and then converted to feet. So each 1/10 of a meter will add 3 or 4 tenths of a foot to your score in one jump. The skipped numbers are impossible to achieve. In other words, if you perform the meters to feet conversion incorrectly, you'll most likely come up with an impossible answer. This is only a problem for PAL players since NTSC players can switch the language to have the game do the calculation itself. But what if I told you that sometimes it's not enough to trust the game either? It turns out that, just like with almost everything else in Home Run Contest, there are actually two meter to feet calculations. The one that shows up in-game after Sandbag lands, and the official one that you can see on the character select screen. There's already a precedent for using the latter. Remember, the former can't track scores above 10,000 feet. But just in case that wasn't sufficient, the difference between the two conversion formulas can result in Melee showing you two different scores back to back. One example is at 2,775.6 feet, which mysteriously turns into 2,775.7 feet at character select. Oh, one more thing. I don't want you to get the wrong picture from this video. Home Run Contest is difficult and often glitchy, but it's really satisfying when a strategy comes together, and it has plenty of history that I've barely shown glimpses of here. And now I think it's about time to properly share one of the newest pages of that history. Do you recall, all the way back at the beginning of this video, when I shared a glimpse of a Samus run? I'd now like to present in full the new tool-assisted world record for Samus's Home Run Contest by Practical TAS.
That's real time? Or is that real time or TAS? I wasn't paying attention. I zoned out for a moment. Okay, yeah.
If I kept your attention for these 25 plus minutes, thank you, and I think you'd like more of my stuff. Check out my channel, because that's all for this video. Thanks for watching.
This is the other one.
Brothers has a long history of cash bounties. Bounties for beat.
Oh, I think I already saw this. We just talked about that. I don't need to watch that again. What else there is? Let's see if there's anything else. 3 years ago? This guy uploads once a year. It was 3 years since his last video? 5, 4, 3, 3, 11 days ago. What the fuck? Yeah. But holy shit. Okay. There's something else I wanted to do. I don't remember what it was now.